reading books. Babes reading books. Book club.
I think we nailed that one.
Oh.
What's up, book nerds? It seems so good every time. The babes are back in town for the Babes Reading Books Book Club, baby.
Babes. Episode 3. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Babes.
We're back for episode 3. This week, this month, and month is Nadia's book that she picked, Verity, Colleen Hoover.
Woo!
So today we're going to be talking all about it. Our usual overall rating, breaking down characters, plots, final thoughts, and then the announcement of next month's book.
Oh yeah!
Don't miss it. Make sure to subscribe to become a babe and join the babe community. And as always, make sure to leave your comments, thoughts, and opinions in the comment section below.
Exactly. Let's get into it, babes.
Heck yeah.
Ratings? Since it's your thing, let's read a synopsis.
Okay.
Lowen Ashley is a struggling writer on the brink of financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home, ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What Lowen doesn't expect to uncover in the chaotic office is an unfinished autobiography Verity never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night her family was forever altered. Lowen decides to keep the manuscript hidden from Jeremy, knowing its contents would devastate the already grieving father. But as Lowen's feelings for Jeremy begin to intensify, she recognizes all the ways she could benefit if he were to read his wife's words. After all, no matter how devoted Jeremy is to his injured wife, a truth this horrifying would make it impossible for him to continue loving her. Dun dun dun.
That's so funny. When we read this last time,
Yeah.
I was not expecting...
Same.
Like, based on the back, I was not expecting it to be what it was.
Oh my god,
really?
Yeah.
Like now I'm reading it and I'm like, yeah, makes so much, like this is exactly what happens in the book. But like when we read it last time, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Really, I got so excited last time when you read it. I got so excited to read it. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get my hands on this book.
It's a good synopsis.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Alright, should we jump into our ratings? Out of 5, as usual.
As usual, do I start?
Sure.
Just to
Do you
think
want me to
about it.
start?
Yeah, you don't have to start. Like,
You don't seem prepared.
Fine, go.
do you even know the rating that you want for it? You have to think about it still, or
Now it's a cliffhanger. We need to hear your rating.
That was part of the video making process.
suspense.
I wanted to get the people on the edge of their seats, okay? I was gonna say, honestly, I give it 4 out of 5. Honestly, really good read. Like, I think this might be, okay, minus some of the book, the best. Like, I liked it the most. Like, I liked the way it was, because the thing about, like, typical mysteries where, like, they like a murder happened and they're trying to solve it is that my brain can't physically be like, oh, I'm just enjoying the story. My brain's like, okay, we're gonna catch everything to, like, solve the mystery. With this, I liked that there was no real mystery to, like, solve. It was just, like, things were just getting revealed, like, just kept getting revealed until the very end, you know?
Yeah.
So I actually really liked it.
And even at the end, it's like, we'll talk
Yeah,
about it, but like,
that caught me off guard too. Like the
not a
last few
clear-
chapters, like
yeah.
like the very last chapter, I think, or like the
Yeah.
last bit. I was like, oh,
yeah. Yeah, I really liked it too. I'll get a 4.5 out of 5 even. Not a 5, but like very close. Like I really enjoyed it. This is like probably the fastest I've ever read a book, and not just because I was late for this, but I actually like was enjoying it. And, like I wanted to like know what was happening. I really liked it.
Okay, I'm gonna be on the opposite end of the scale, but I'm gonna explain myself. I'm giving it a 2.5. But here's why. Here's why. So half of it, why it's 2.5 right on the middle, because I agree it was extremely well written. Like again, like it kept my interest. I wanted to keep reading it. I can tell why it's raved about, and I can tell why she's like a really good popular author.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like I'm saying, it was written really well. I liked also the fact. Like, I appreciated that it was such a different thriller. Like, it was uncomfortable. It made you... It was really, like, dark. You know what I mean? Like, I've never read a book like that has that really dark,
well, it had my
uncomfortable,
yeah,
like, storyline to it. Like, and what she did with it, amazing. Like, the way it was written. So that's why I get the 2 of 5. Why I did not like it and did not enjoy it, I oh no.
Oh.
I usually don't read like romancy stuff. It's not really my favorite genre. And you know, the spice as they call it. That's not. I was like, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, it's still. It is kind of
yeah.
dark.
It's a thriller romance.
Thriller,
That's
dark.
how she
Yeah,
explains it.
I don't usually read that. That wasn't the problem for me. The problem was I hated every single character. Like to the point where it just I couldn't like read. I hated them all. Like there's nothing I liked about any character in this book. Like
So you hated the little boy, eh?
I mean,
yeah, like they are unlikable characters.
They are all, and like that's the point of it.
little
Yeah,
boy.
like, that's why I gave it a 2.5 because she did what she came out like to do.
Yeah.
But I just hated them to the point where like it was so annoying for me to read. And there's also another thing. I don't know if I should start talking about it now.
Okay, wait. I think the fact that she like was able to make you hate them so much, like, kind of says something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I respect her writing, and
that's like
that was so good.
Yeah.
But then I just didn't enjoy. Like,
that's fair.
You know, I mean, I didn't enjoy the storyline. I didn't enjoy the characters. I appreciated. Like, it's really well written, really different. Never read anything like it. But I just didn't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah.
And there's also, sorry, I just could not get over the fact, and like, which is kind of the point of the book, but they just worship Jeremy the whole time, whole book, and I couldn't stand it. I'm like, why are they worshiping this less than average man? Like the whole book, it's like treating him like a godlike figure. There's nothing good about it. It's not even rich.
He's not even rich.
There's like
I thought we were in the mansion because of him. It was the wife.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah. So that's why I give it a 2.5. Did not, because I just. Yeah.
For me, Jeremy was hot, but I guess whatever. But he wasn't rich, so. Okay, so now I guess we just get into what really happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay, so it starts off by...
She just folded the whole time?
What's her face? Who is Lowen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, this pissed me off.
Because, I read this, maybe, like... Because I think we recorded Tuesday, so I read it, like, the following Monday and Tuesday. It took me 2 days. And not even fully, like, it just took me a couple hours. It was pretty good. So I'm kind of, like, mildly remembering things, but one thing that, like, so at the very beginning, it's already, like, hot start, like, some man, it's very gruesome, man dies, okay? And then Lowen witnesses it, and she has, like, blood all over her, whatever, and then, like, Jeremy, what did he do? He just asked her if she was okay, right?
No! Whoa! She asked.
I was like, Nadia, for your own safety.
No, because he set the tone of the book, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be one of these books where they're like praising the man the whole entire time for doing the bare minimum. Because he asks her if she's okay, whatever, and then he takes her to a bathroom to go get clean, and then he comes in the bathroom stall with her and locks the door, and I was immediately like, if any man did that.
Okay, I thought it was like a public washroom.
Yeah, no, it was.
Not the stall.
No, it was like one thing.
No, it was
one public
the whole
bathroom.
place.
Yeah, still.
I thought the whole public bathroom
Starbucks
with stalls.
No, I pictured a Starbucks.
No,
They don't have one room?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
The reason he stood there and locked it was so that other people don't come in.
Yeah.
Still, why is he locking himself in there? Give the girl some space.
Yeah,
because
he was giving her his shirt.
Which is even weird. Like, the start of it.
I get what you're saying.
I'd say go buy her a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean...
But it's for the spice stick. He has to take off his shirt so that she can admire him.
Yeah. This is when she starts to fall in love with him.
I can't stop. I can't stand this, the garbage love at first sight. I can't. When she was like... In that first chapter, she's like looking in the mirror, and she was like already in love with him, and I was like, "Girl, you just saw someone die. Why are you literally thinking about this man?" Like,
that's the whole point of love at first sight. It's not supposed to make sense, Victory.
I don't know. That immediately, I was like, "Oh God."
I didn't know Anti-Cupid was here.
Gosh. But to be fair, I was like, "This is gonna be horrible. I'm gonna hate this." But to be fair, I did not expect what was coming.
Yeah.
But the start of it, I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, so then Lowen, this person, she's a writer. Bad one at that. She was not doing well. She was broke. And then...
I was like, why? How do you know she's a bad writer?
And then, so it turns out that Jeremy... Like, she was... Lowen was running off to meeting, and it turns out Jeremy was one of the people in the meeting. Oh, what? I see you again. That's wild.
Who would have thought?
They have a meeting, and so what happened is this big famous writer, Verity, she, I think, got in a car accident or something. She got in an accident, so she couldn't write she couldn't finish like the 3 more books of like a 6-book series or whatever, and then they wanted Lowen to write the rest. So, and then obviously Lowen was like, I don't want this, and then Jeremy's like, you gotta do it, I believe in you, and then she was like, all right. Or was that the thing that they were always said to each other?
Yeah. And then she moves into Jeremy's house because she needs to sort through all of Verity's notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she moves in. She's staying like in Jeremy's bedroom.
That's another red flag I wrote down immediately. I was like,
yeah.
Why do you give this random girl your master bedroom that you shared with your wife?
He doesn't sleep there. Yeah,
but it's still weird. It's weird because it's like, if you moved rooms, why aren't you taking your bed with you? Like, I feel like that's the first thing that in a bedroom, you move the bed. So for me,
it's the bed part. It's a mansion. There's definitely another bedroom.
I agree. Like, he could have given her any other bedroom. Yeah. Like, it's kind of weird, but anyway, it sets up the whole like romance part of this book. But so she moves into this house and she starts going through Verity's notes in her office, and then she stumbles upon like a manuscript that Verity wrote that's like an autobiography about her life, and then she starts reading it, and it's like, at first it starts off just being like about her and Jeremy, like how they met, like the love at first sight thing again, and like just like, yeah, like really spicy like type of thing. Do you want to say something?
I do. I don't remember what it is, but there was something. So something that's important is Verity. So the woman whose notes Lowen is looking through, her books are written from a villain's perspective. So it's already like, she's someone who clearly can write about how a villain feels, and then in her autobiography thing, Manuscript, she says like, most people write autobiographies to like get people to fall in love with them. Like, I'm gonna do the complete opposite. Then so she's really saying like every little detail, like that, like even like things where she's like, oh, like things that most people would like try to hide.
Yeah.
So she's given everything. So
and she puts like a warning on the manuscript, like do not read any further, like if you're not prepared to like read something awful, you know.
Also, side note, we forgot to mention, but so Jeremy and Verity, they had originally 3 kids, a set of twins, and when Lowen and Jeremy are trauma bonding together because they're in love with each other, he reveals that he lost both of his twins pretty close to one another, so they're both dead.
Yes.
And then they still have a son that's alive.
Yeah. So 2 kids died.
Just a side note.
Yeah. I don't. Do you want to continue?
No, that's okay.
Okay. Then what? Okay. So it starts off just like romance in the manuscript, but then it starts turning into like, she gets pregnant, you know, with the twins, which I think was like unexpected for her, and then she. Like, immediately, Jeremy expresses his love for them before they're even born, and she takes that, like, as a threat to his love for her. Like, he's as if he's, like, taking away his love for her and, like, only giving it to the twins, and she, like, feels so threatened and, immediately just, like, does not like these twins, which is, like, very strange for a mother, like...
Not even like resenting, like, hating.
Yeah.
Like, she was, like, some of the things she was saying, I was like, holy smokes, if someone said that about me, game over, you know? Like, there was something important, something to do with that. Oh! Also, we forgot to mention, Verity's in the home.
Oh, yeah.
She's still in the freaking home.
How did I forget to mention?
She's still living with them.
She's like not, what's it called? Not a coma. She's just not responsive.
Yeah.
So she survived the accident, but she's just unresponsive. So she needs like 24/7 care, pretty much.
Yeah.
They said she has like the brain capacity of like an infant, so she can like eat and like blink.
And that's about it. And then there's a nurse. So just to introduce all the characters. So there's also a nurse that stays with her or whatever, and she's a little bit mean.
Yeah, I hated her too. Yeah. But like, there's not one likable character in this whole book.
It's true.
Actually, I started liking her when she said the thing about, like, oh, don't talk about Verity that way, because I was like, respect, you know? But anyways, sorry, we digress, but just so you know that Jeremy's in the house, Lowen's in the house, Verity's in the house, lights off, if you know what I'm saying. And there's the kid.
Crew. Weird name. Sorry.
Crew, and then the maid. So those are the people in the house.
Oh yeah. Wait, why was his name was Karud? Something because
Some
like
boat or
some boat reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's where he was conceived.
Oh yeah, in the canoe. Anyway, then the babies are born, and she talks about how like she's not working because she just gave birth, and she's supposed to be taking care of the kids, but while Jeremy is at work. But she was saying like she wakes up, like takes care of them so he can see her take care of them, and then just kind of like locks them in a room and goes and does her own thing the whole day. So they're just like crying, like very neglecting.
She like turns off the baby monitor or whatever, so she can't even hear them scream. And I was like,
crazy. And then I kind of forget like. There was something about...
She tries to... We also didn't mention, big point, but she tries to give herself a miscarriage when they're pregnant with the hanger.
The hanger.
Yeah.
And then once they are born, she tries to choke one of them out. And she shoves her fingers down one of their throats.
Trying to make it seem like the child threw up and then swallowed their own vomit and then like died, obviously, or choked, whatever. And then, but meanwhile, this is so like the way they wrote this, or the Colleen wrote this. So you're like living like Lowen's perspective, and then like she's reading a chapter, and then they go back into her life, like life at the home, whatever. Them living together, back into a chapter, like flip flopping. And I think around there, like weird things start to happen, where like she was like ogling Jeremy, and then like she could have sworn that like Verity was looking at her. So she was like, okay, like, that's weird, like, because apparently she doesn't have that. And then in the meantime, Jeremy and Lowen are getting closer, they're getting a little flirty. But yeah, so then we're, like, jumping back and forth. So those are things probably that happened up until that point. That she, like, and when she said that she was trying to choke out her own baby, I was like...
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes,
and
that was
wild.
Oh, yeah, that, I was like, damn.
It's just so messed up. Yeah. And then one of the twins like had a scratch, was born with like a scar on her cheek because of the hanger.
Because of the hanger. And then I think like the way they set it up was that like Verity was like choking the baby, like she actively was like putting her fingers in the baby's throat. But then like Jeremy walked in, so she obviously had to stop. And then they said that like I think it was kind of like since she like did that to her, that she ended up with like what was it, Asperger's. So I think that's what they tried to like
choke her.
Yeah, so like I think she was like cut off from oxygen, but I like that's kind of what it seemed like.
Yeah, they kind of set it up that
I don't know if like personally that's why I was like I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I don't think that's how it works.
but
I think that's how they tried to pin it. So it was like, oh, the scar on the cheek was the hanger, and then like that was the result because she only did that to one of the twins.
Okay, that's right, because she had a dream about one of the twins.
What were their names?
Chastity
one was
and Harper.
Yeah.
Chastity, right?
Or
Something with
Chastin.
Chastin, yeah. So she has a dream about Chastin, that Chastin's gonna die in the future.
And she's gonna be killed by Harper.
Yeah, so then she starts resenting Harper even more, and then starts liking or feeling bad for Chastin, wanting to give Chastin all the love that she can before she gets killed by her sister. So that's why she choked out Harper. And yeah, so it just continues. So obviously while this is going on, Lowen is obviously hating Verity more and more, and feeling bad for Jeremy more and more.
And also not telling Jeremy any of this.
Yeah, she's just doing this on her own time. Which I'm like, how do you have time to read this whole thing and then write the 3-book series that you came here for?
Yeah.
There's no one's suspicious. So she obviously ends up staying longer at the house also. Because it was supposed to be 2 days originally, and then it turned into weeks or whatnot. Yeah, and then the manuscript keeps getting dark. Then Jeremy starts noticing in the manuscript that Verity is only paying attention to one of the kids. Starts getting mad at her for that. And, trouble in paradise there.
Of course.
And then, I'm trying to think what else. Also, in present time, Lowen also sleepwalks. So she sleptwalked again for the first time in years, and she ended up in Verity's room.
Crazy. In her bed. She was in bed with Verity.
Which I don't know how one or the other didn't take a knife and just take them out there.
Yeah.
So then she has a lock installed on her door from the outside.
Oh, yeah.
And the inside.
And the inside, yeah.
So it's like the inside one is for Lowen to lock herself in, and then the outside one's for Jeremy to lock her in, so that Lowen can't just leave the room again. Because so clearly the first they just put the inside lock, and then he was like, okay, we'll put an outside lock to keep you in. And it's like, okay, whatever. I don't know why I didn't think of that first, but whatever. Oh, and then also this like the story progresses and stuff, but oh no, so Jeremy and Karud were like at their like pool or not pool pond or whatever. And then Lowen was like watching them, whatever, and then she saw Karud wave to the house, and she thought she was waving to him, to Lowen. Lowen thought Karud was waving to Lowen, but then his eyes weren't meeting hers, and it looked like he was kind of turning up. So she turned around, and then she saw like the curtain, like so, like movement in the curtain. So she was like, and then I think later she like scurried up to see if like Verity, because by then she was getting suspicious that Verity was faking it. And then she went upstairs, but then she saw a fan was moving the curtain, and she was like, oh, okay.
Oh, also, Karud, the little boy, he talks about like his mom telling him not to do things in present tense. Like he's like, oh, mommy tells me not to do this or whatever, and she's like, does mommy talk to you? And he just like is silent then, like as if he knows he's said something wrong or like
and then I think he like freaks out or something, right?
Himself.
When she that's when he put the knife between his teeth and bit down.
When he says something bad, he hurts himself.
But anyways, but then also what happened one time was I think she heard that Karud was upstairs, and then I think she was walking by, like Lowen was like walking by her. Something happened that like she came into the room and then saw a knife on the floor. Oh yeah, Karud had cut himself, so then she took him to the bathroom or whatever, and then she saw a knife on the ground, and then
by Verity's bed.
Yeah. Right, they were in Verity's room, specifically. So by Verity's bed, but then Jeremy came to help Karud, so then he was like, okay, go get the knife. So Lowen goes, but she can't find the knife anywhere. And she's like, I swear I saw a knife. But she was like, I don't know. But she was kind of like, okay, well, I don't know then, you know? The story goes on. So then it goes up to like Chasten's death. So what happened was that she had a really bad peanut allergy, and she went to a sleepover, and then apparently, she got exposed to peanuts somehow and just didn't wake up the next morning. But like Harper was there, so Verity like talks like kind of like she's like smack talking Harper for 90% of this book, and I'm like,
I felt so
girl, like, are you okay? Like, it's one thing to hate both of them, but like hating just Harper, I was like, yo, cut this girl some slack.
That's so sad.
So then Verity's kind of like, I know Harper was involved because like the parents knew that they shouldn't have touched, or like that, like she had a peanut allergy, like they knew about the EpiPen, all this stuff kind of thing. So it goes back to her dream that she had about Harper killing Chasten or whatever. So she continues despising her even more, and now she's suspecting her of murder.
So I think then, like, present time, that's when like her and Jeremy start getting spicy, and then she thinks she sees Verity on the stairs.
Oh yeah,
like watching them.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she starts like freaking out because she's like, okay, I'm not going crazy anymore. Like, it's this girl is alive, and then Jeremy's obviously like, no, doesn't believe it. So now she's always locked in her room. She's so scared. And then,
because the first time it happened, they were hooking up in the living room, which totes inappropriate, but whatever.
With a little son.
Just running around like, hello. So, so then she saw her on the stairs, whatever, and then Jeremy goes to check on her, but she's in her room fine. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then Verity's like, okay, whatever. So the next time, they're getting spicy in the bedroom, and someone locks the door. So someone locks them in. And they were like, that's weird. Like, and then they just chalked it up to, what was it that they said that, like the maid or the nurse?
They said that, I think Jeremy then like tried to like shut the door hard and see if it would lock on its own, and he said it can if you hit it hard enough. Yeah,
so then they just said, like, they were like, oh, it must have happened that we just closed the door and then locked on itself. But like, Lowen's like,
that's suspicious.
I don't know if I could trust it, you know, obviously, which makes so much sense. I was like, yo, girl, the first eye contact, I get out of there.
Yeah, I was like, why is she still in this house? Because she's obsessed with Jeremy.
Yeah.
Worshiping this man.
I was like, I get it, like, being scared for Karud.
Yeah.
Jeremy, he's a man. He can figure it out on his own, you know? But anyways, so then they progress. So then, like, it's just a bunch of, like, them, like, hooking up, whatever. And then at, like, this one point, where the nurse never really liked Lowen, which is like fair. She's like macking on the freaking husband of the woman you're taking care of. Like, hello. And then at one point, I think Lowen was like trying to get information from her, kind of like on Verity's condition. And then she was just like straight up talking just to the nurse, and like Verity was right there. And then she was like asking about questions as though Verity wasn't even there. And then like the nurse was like, she pulls her aside and she's like, it's very bad to like talk about people when like she's like, okay, maybe she's not responding, but she's like, it's still an intake of information, you know. You make sure like you're still talking to her as though she's there. And I was like, respect, you know?
That was a good move.
I was like, okay, fine, because up till there I was like iffy on the nurse. I was like, are you trying to mac on Jeremy? Is that what's going on? But then that happened, so it was cool, whatever, NBD. And then this is the part that had my jaw drop. She's reading more in the manuscript.
What was it?
Literally, both of you were like, so apparently, so Verity, so this is the manuscript. Verity was feeling super salty towards Harper because she's fully convinced, like she's like gung-ho, like ready to send this kid to jail at this point. Like she is ready. She would be the judge, jury, and executioner, okay? So what happens is Jeremy's like, oh, take them to the river or whatever. So she does. And she's like, okay, we paddle out. And then she goes and she brings Crew with her, obviously. So it's Crew and Harper and her in the boat. And then she tells Crew to hold his breath. And then she flips the canoe. And then they get up, whatever. She finds Crew. They swim to safety. And then they go check. She can't find Harper. And this was all planned. I was like... And then she goes, sends Crew. And then she's like, oh, I'm going to go look for Harper. Like, to make it seem obvious. She's like, oh, I have to make it seem real. Like, blah, blah, blah. So she's like... She went out there and just, like, kind of swam around. Like, called the name. She was like, okay, I need, like, people to think that, whatever. And then, obviously, like, Harper's dead. So she got caught in, like, a fishing net or something. So she couldn't come up herself. And it was just, like, the things Verity was saying about this... And, like, the way she was talking about Harper, I was, like, sitting there, I was, like...
She was like, yeah, we can just get over this phase of grief and then go back to, like, him worshipping me.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, and I was like, oh, my
And I even just thought when she... The part that made my jaw drop wasn't even, like, those things. It was literally when she was kind of, like, oh, like, kind of, like, thank goodness for the fishing net, because otherwise she probably would have swam to safety. And she was, like, disgusted by the idea of Harper making it out alive. And I was like, that blew my marbles. But yeah, and then obviously Jeremy was still super depressed, whatever. Blah. And then, like, Lowen was like, what am I reading? I was like, girl, first of all, I would finish this thing in one thing, send it to police immediately.
Yeah. She, like, broke it up.
I was like,
this is nuts. Just finish it.
And I was like, and not just... And I was like, I don't even know for what purpose. I was like, this is literally confession to murder. You go to the police. And she was like, what about Jeremy? What about Jeremy? If this woman killed her kid, send her to freaking the police, give a copy to Jeremy, give it to the nurse, give it to anyone who will take it. Like,
she's like, no, it's gonna hurt him if he knows that his wife did this.
I was like, bro.
And just that whole, like, that's her whole mentality throughout, like, the whole book, pretty much. And it just pisses me off. Like, I could not stand reading this with her just worshiping this man so much. And I'm like, I know that this man isn't as good as it seems, like, too. And it's just like, oh, so annoying. And then also, one thing that really annoyed me, after she reads this, she goes to Crew and starts questioning him, like, about, do you remember that day on the boat and whatever? And I'm like, don't bring the kid involved. Like, that, oh my god, that made me, I think, the most angry at Lowen and throughout the whole book. I'm like, you don't bring a kid back, especially if you know he's dealing with trauma, especially if you had your own trauma in the past and you know how badly it's affected you, and you're gonna go question this kid, and then obviously this kid goes and bites a knife.
He didn't bite, like, he bit the knife not because of, like, not just like, oh, he just got, like, really emotional. It was like when she started asking, like, oh, did your mom tell you to hold your breath before it tipped over? And then he bit the knife or whatever, and I was like, ugh, I don't know who would think of that, but whatever. Yeah, and then there's also she yells at Verity.
That's when she goes and yells at him.
No,
when Jeremy was out of the house. No, he was out of the house with Crew. It was just
he was outside of the house, but he was close, because then he comes in, and then she's like, she needs to be changed. Yeah, because then she, like, peed herself, and I was like,
oh yeah,
that, because that was near the beginning. The nurse just dropped her off for a second. Oh, Oh, but the very first sign of her being, like, Verity, that Lowen knew Verity was kind of, like, alive, was because she came in and she was like, oh, I turned on I left the TV on, and then she enters the room. Oh, no, this was not the very beginning. Sorry, I lied. But it was like, oh, the nurse was like, okay, I turned on the TV or whatever, like, she should be fine. But then Lowen walks by the room or, like, checks on it. I don't know. She's, like, super paranoid and obsessed. And then she sees that the TV's off. And she was like, that's a little freaky.
That's weird.
Turning off noise so you can spy on things in the house.
Yeah.
Some would say.
Suspicious.
Yeah, what else happens after
I
that?
forget, like, the order of events.
Yeah, it's all kind of scrambled. But I think around then she goes and, like, goes right up to Verity and is like, I know you're alive.
Yeah.
And, like, yelling at her, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, like, to the tipping point now. I forget how the end of the manuscript ends. Because does Jeremy find out? Or is that just...
she said she was, like... Jeremy never got over it. Like, Verity's saying, like, oh, Jeremy never got over it, so I might as well drive myself into a tree.
There you go.
Right? So that's how she ends it. And then what happens in real time, after I think she reads all that, I think Lowen ponders giving it to Jeremy, but then, like, Jeremy's kind of, like, trying to kick her out of the house because she started, like, going off on Verity, and in front of Jeremy this time, and Jeremy was like, yo, man, like, what's, like, are you okay? Like, girl, leave this woman alone. But then she's like, no, read this manuscript and then you'll understand, like, blah, 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 like, all this stuff. So then he reads it, and then he goes wild onto Verity. And then what was, like, oh, and he starts choking her out.
Yeah.
I was like,
Verity. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he starts choking out Verity. And then, this bitch Lowen says, no, don't choke her, you'll go to jail. We'll find another way to kill her that won't, like, that will get you off scot-free. And I was like, girl, are you okay? Like,
Okay, not saying this is right, but she did think that Verity killed two of her daughters, or one of her daughters.
I know, but I'm like, he's gonna go to jail anyway. I was like, show the police the manuscript. And this woman will go to jail. Like, because you don't need anything on your conscience.
Like,
I would, like, and I wanted this woman to die.
Yeah,
but I was like, that's guaranteed. That's the only thing we can guarantee in life. You're gonna die. Toss her in jail. I was like, right now she gets to see her son. Like, killing her, you're kind of letting her off easy. You know? I'm like, this woman needs to suffer. She needs to realize what's going on. She freaking killed her child. She almost killed one, but then she ended up killing her successfully in the end. Like, this woman needs to pay. But I was like, he doesn't need on his conscience. What's her face? Lowen doesn't need on her conscience. Send her to jail. Like the manuscript is more than enough to send her off to jail.
For sure. She should have read that manuscript in one sitting and called the police.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what
I get it for this story, but I'm but I was like, girl, like, if I, like, in real life, if someone was, like, choking out some, like, if this real scenario, and I was Lowen, I'd be like, send her to jail. Like, well, no, I just want to wipe my hands clean of this freak show that just killed her own child. And, like, be done with it, you know? But then, so then they ended up doing the asphyxiation thing that, like, she did to Harper. Yeah, so then, like, to make it look like it was an accident. So then she dies, whatever. And we're like, okay.
She dies.
Whatever. Sorry, one point that I want to bring up, the way I interpreted it, which, again, another reason why I hate Lowen, too, is that I felt like she was okay with killing, Verity. Like, she did, obviously, seem, like, very upset at her hating her children and wanting to kill her children, obviously. But I also, like, the main reason I felt like she just wanted someone to die was so that she could have a life with Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
For, like, the wrong reason. Not because of the kids first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which pissed me off, again, so much.
At the end of the day, it's like she didn't even need her to die to be with him. Because it's like, at the end of the day, Jeremy's still gonna divorce her. Are you kidding me? Like, if I found out that happened, like, if I was in a relationship with someone and that happened, immediately that's done. They were already sleeping together. Now he finds out that Verity killed a child. I don't think she's in the running anymore. Like, I think she's long gone out of the running for that. Sure. And then on top of that, it's like there was just no, I just kind of felt, I was like, Lowen, like, are you okay? Like, what are you, like, why do you want her to kill her so, and so then I was like, oh, she's just evil, because
she's just jealous.
There's no
she
need,
wants Jeremy all to herself.
Well, I guess she
wants
knew that
exactly
Verity was alive.
what they had at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, but then, So, okay, so hold up. But Jeremy, when he found out first, he like freaked out. And then turns out Verity was faking it. I think she said something or something. He was like, oh, like, speak up or something.
Oh, yeah. And she goes, I can explain or something.
I can explain, yeah. And then they choke her.
And then they kill her. So she didn't get to explain. However.
Yeah, she's like, please don't hurt me, I'll explain everything. And then, and then she jumps off the bed to try to escape, but then he grabs her by, like, yanks her back onto the bed. I was like, and then she's, like, kicking and trying to scream. He, like, covered her mouth or whatever. But yeah, so then it's like, turns out she in fact was faking it. Mm-hmm. So then he was, like, pissed at that, whatever, they kill, blah, blah. So then turns out that Lowen and Jeremy, like, they end up together. Like, I think it skips a year ahead.
She's
right?
pregnant.
7 months.
Or 7 months, yeah. And so she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And they're about to, like, move out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened that to make her think, so they were moving out, and then what's his face?
Karud wanted to get something from the floor.
Yeah, he was like, I have to get my stuff out of my mom's floor. And she's like, and then, so he got pictures that he drew for the mom that she kept in there, and he was like, okay. And then, not Verity, Lowen, she was like, oh, so she checks it. And then, this was a good plot twist. So it turns out, she says, like, dear Jeremy, like, I hope it's you who finds this letter. So she wrote this, right before, or after her accident, so while she was faking it. Mm-hmm. And so she goes on to tell that, like, this whole manuscript was practice for, like, evil, like, how to write evil. So what it is, like, everything that you thought, write the exact opposite of. Mm-hmm. And, like, stuff like that. And she's just saying that, like, it was just a writing exercise. Like, I loved both my children, like, all this stuff just happened, like, all of it was just for show, like, it was just for the story. And then, so then she says, like, I saw you, read the manuscript. So Verity saw Jeremy read the manuscript.
Before her accident.
So when he read it that time, he didn't, that was the second time reading it, like, when he actually killed her or whatever. And she was just saying that, like, everything was, like, the opposite, blah, blah, whatever. And then what he did was, like, he, like, knocked her out or, like, choked her out or something. So she got knocked out, and then he put her in the passenger seat of the car, or put her in the driver's seat of the car or whatever, and then had her crash to, like, try to kill her. But then since she, like, didn't die, he felt bad, and that's why he was taking care of her or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then Lowen's like, so then pretty much she's saying that, like, she didn't kill her children, like, all this was fake, it was all fiction, like, blah, blah. So I was like, yo, plot twist. And then, so now Lowen's reading this, and she's like, well, if that's true, then he just killed this woman for nothing. Because it was all for, like, all because she killed the kids. Yeah. So now, but she was like, oh, I don't want Jeremy to feel bad, whatever. And then she destroys the letter. Yeah. And then that's how it ends. Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Now the big question, which one do you believe? Do you believe the manuscript or the letter? I believe the manuscript.
I believe the letter.
Really?
I believe the manuscript.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because, but here's the thing. It's because of, like, little inconsistencies. So I was like because there was one thing specifically. Ooh. Shoot. Okay, like, give me a second to think about it. You guys talk, and I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just the easiest way to cover her tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
sorry.
like if you so she's doing this writing exercise, right? Yeah. Obviously, it's terrible. Obviously, she's not stupid. She knows if this gets out, one, her husband obviously is gonna hate her. I don't know if she thought he'd kill her, but he's definitely gonna hate her. It's a crime. She can go to jail. Like, if someone finds this, right? Why isn't she immediately deleting it off her laptop?
Yeah.
Why did she also make a print copy of it?
But not just that, she was like, I couldn't find the print. If I had something like that out there, God, I would see God before my eyes before I let this thing not be found. Yeah. I would burn my house to the ground to ensure that this thing was destroyed. Yeah. Because of how messed up it was. Here's one thing. The reason I believe the manuscript is because the inconsistency. So when she was choking out the baby, like Harper, the baby monitor was on, right? So Jeremy saw that like something was going on, and he came in, and he was kind of like, oh, what's going on? And then he again suspected her that she was treating the kids differently, and he said it in real life. Like, he's told that to Lowen, where he said that like he did feel like Verity was treating them differently. And then because she claimed, she was like, oh, it's because different kids have different needs. And I was like, no, not what you're doing. Like, that's not how you treat kids. Like, that's the number one thing you don't do. You do your best to like even the playing field. You don't like. So I was like, I believe the manuscript 100%. And then because also it's like she was faking her injury or whatever, and I was like, bro, this man left. Like, because he went to like New York to meet with Lowen. The guy's gone. Tell the nurse what happened, and she will help you out. Like, I don't believe that she was so helpless that she had to fake it the entire time. You know?
Yeah, because like in the letter too, she says, because she writes a letter like hours before she gets killed, because she said she planned on taking Karud and leaving, but it's hard with like Lowen there, and then the timing didn't work out. So like, why didn't she leave when he was in New York?
Yeah,
right.
That was the end goal.
And I'm just, I feel like she easily could have approached the nurse and been like, listen, like, I'm afraid of Jeremy, like, blah, 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 like, explain, like, I feel like if she let her, like, the nurse in on it, I feel like she could have kind of gathered a little bit of sympathy, you know? And then also, why did she have Karud have a knife? Like, why did she let Karud have a knife in her room? I was like, unless she's not...
Yeah, why did she...
there's no reason for it.
She had it to, like, protect herself, but, like, why did she have it out when she was just with Karud, I guess?
Exactly. You
I don't
know?
know. Okay, the reason I, like... First of all, I want to believe her.
Yeah.
Like, I want to believe the letter, you know? Because then it's, like, it just makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, because how can, like, you be, like, a mother and just, like, despise your kids? Like, it doesn't make sense. I just, like, feel like it never happens.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it does. I don't want to think it does,
Yeah.
but it's like, and also in the floorboards, she had like pictures of them and Karud's like hand-drawn pictures for her. And for me, that was like, I don't know, like, you know, she like chose these things, like a few things to keep with her in the room. And I was like, to me, that's like, it shows that
like
she loved them, really. But like, I don't know, like she also could have been staged.
But I can't remember. I don't think she despised Karud that much, though.
Yeah.
No.
Right? So that's
Not
why
that
I was
much.
like... Because I thought that, too. I was like, very first when I was reading the letter, I was like, oh, okay, I think it's true.
Yeah.
But then the more I thought of it, because I wanted to ask... Like, I was like, okay, like, when we do book club, like, I really want to ask this question. The more I thought about it, I was like, okay, like, let's lay it all out. I was like, oh, it's got to be... Like, I believe it's the manuscript that was true. Just because... And, like, I get it that it's like, oh, she has such a good imagination or whatever. I was like... Even... coming up with these things like as a lie, like it takes, like, I feel like you, like, if someone made me write a book, and I can't imagine that someone was like, oh, do the opposite of what you thought, and they went with this, you know? I was like,
Yeah, like,
listen, there's a different,
insane.
there's a potential different, and then I was like, but she wrote this after she already wrote her books. She wrote the manuscript after she wrote her books, but she claims it was like a writing accident. But I was like, you already wrote books in the villain's perspective.
She was saying like she had written her first book and it was like a huge success from the villain's perspective, and then she wrote her second one, and then she was like kind of like losing momentum. Like she couldn't think of more ways like what villains would do, so then they gave her this writing exercise.
Okay.
But like,
I also think that they said too, because she started writing about her kid's death after one already happened. So she decided to deal with her grief by making it the most gruesome way possible. Which I was like, what? Okay.
And I was like, so that's why I believe the man. But specifically the thing about how Jeremy noticed that she was treating the kids differently.
Yeah. That's
so
a
I
good
was
point.
like, I believe it, because especially when you have, I feel like when you have a child with like developmental differences or whatever, like of any kind, because like they need more attention, you know? So I was like, that's why I was like, treating kids differently, I feel like it's very rare for parents to do unintentionally. So I'm like, if he's noticing that you were treating the kids differently, and if he was able to believe that you killed a kid, because I was like, you know, like, and not even just read it, he, like, it's different, like Lowen reading it, us reading it, and supposedly the husband, because it's like, if I don't, like, genuinely, if one of you guys wrote something like that, I would have to take a beat and think about it, because I'd be like, I can't see this being true.
Yeah.
Whereas he like immediately reacted, so I was like, You know?
Yeah.
Maybe he's seen something we not. But I feel like I like the way that they did that, where it's kind of like it leaves you guessing, and you have to like think like which one do you believe.
And there's like no answer.
Yeah.
That's
so.
cool.
Yeah, for me it was just a recommendation. Don't read this as a nighttime story to your kids. There's very spicy things in here.
It's very spicy, and it's also spooky. Like, I was like reading it, and
Yeah.
I was like, I was gonna go shower, and I was like, I'm scared to go shower. Like,
Yeah, specifically the parts.
lock you in
yeah,
there.
she was like, it was like the part where she's at the top of the stairs, and I was like, what if she's like in my hallway? You know?
Yeah. Oh, I was just like, so the writer was good for coming up with all this stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I like that it was a good plot twist at the very, because I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously it's like they had to like the whole like having her read it in chunks and staying there or whatever.
Yeah.
Like obviously that's for the storyline because it's boring if she just reads it, goes to the police and like lets them take care of it.
We're like, that's what she should have done. But then there would be no story.
Yeah, we get it, but that's also our bit where we need to be like, we're reading this. I was reading this. I was like, girl, finish the damn thing. Yeah. Like, ugh. I was like, I could finish this book in 2 days. What? It's how many pages? 2, 3, 14. Like, girl, come on. I did it in 2 days. You're telling me you need time between chapters? Like,
It's not even that long.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say, I just read the letter, which is where, like, Verity says, like, that she's not, she didn't actually do any of that stuff. I read that, like, 15 minutes ago. So I feel like maybe I need more time to think about it.
Yeah. Because that's how I felt right after, too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's the letter. I was like, I literally thought, I was like, ooh, they messed up bad.
Yeah,
And
I was like, oh, I can't believe they killed her. Like, she's innocent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll report back to you guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so then I could see that because it's like at first I was like, oh wow, like I was like, yo, that's so embarrassing, like awkward. But then as time went on, I was like, I'm gonna really think this through. So maybe it'll change.
Maybe.
We gotta check back when we have you on the podcast. You gotta check back and be like, hey guys, did it change? Did it not change?
yeah. I'll let you guys know.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's really well written. It's
Like,
it's such a different concept than anything I've ever read before.
Yeah.
Like, it's very different. I liked it in that sense. I just, again, could not stand the characters, just could not stand the storyline.
That's like
Overclouded the
point,
actual writing.
Yeah,
for me,
the whole
though.
point was that you're not supposed to like anyone in this. You
They
know,
all
like
suck.
everyone, literally, you know. And I think that's why they had Jeremy kill Verity rather than like throwing to the police or anything, like, or like even Lowen killing
They're all
Verity or
just
something
as
like
bad
that.
as each other.
Well,
to
that's
be
the
hon-
point.
yeah.
You know, it's like that deep down, like everyone's bad, which I don't believe, but I was like, oh, I just like this style of writing where it's like it's the same with like when we watched Bly Manor. I like that because it was like we didn't know what happened, so I can't piece it together. So I like it. I like this style where it's like they're just kind of like giving you little breadcrumbs and you don't really know what happened at the end, and then
Because even, like, the last 10 pages, like, it's such a huge plot twist.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. Like, going into that, I was like, oh, okay, I already know what happens. Like, I can come and do this book talk. And then I'm reading the last 10 pages, and I was like, oh my god, like, I would have not known, like, the biggest plot twist. So. It's cool, like, all the way up to the end.
Yeah, they really got me hooked. And, like, when I started reading it, it was, like, right before bed, and I was like, I have to go to bed, but then I was like, but I was reading it so fast. Like, I remember one time I was like, okay, I'll just do one more chapter, and then I look, and only, like, 10 minutes went by, and I was like, or even less, like, I don't remember, because I didn't know exactly what time, but it was, like, a short amount of time, and I was like, another one? I was like, I thought it was going to take me an hour, and I was like, okay, let's keep going.
I agree, like, it's just, her writing is so easy to read, like, it just flows so well, and, like, I'm generally a slow reader, but even I was like speeding through and I was like, okay.
Yes, I read this one the fastest. Also because we were supposed to record earlier, but then, things happened. And then I was expecting that we would record later. And then, so I think we said on the Sunday that we're going to record on Tuesday. And I was like, oh, I haven't started it yet.
Me too! You and I both.
Because I was like, because of the other two, I read earlier in the month. And then by the time we did this, I could barely like remember anything. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait till the end of the month because I can read pretty quick. So I was like, no worries for that. But then I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting to read this whole book in like 2 days, but I read it in under 24 hours. Like, the whole thing. I just cleared it. It was so easy to read.
Yeah, really easy.
Yeah.
I want to like try some of her other books because I really like the writing and stuff.
For real.
Yeah, I understand her hype.
So I was taking some notes though. Wait, so one, I was like, amazing plot twist. So that's the title of the note. Lowen is the one with some screws loose, and he ends up killing Verity. Wait, I think I meant to say she. and she ends up killing Verity and claiming it was for Jeremy's sake since she was faking it, but she like, but then like at the end they say like it was all in her mind, you know, where like she's seeing Verity. Verity wasn't, you know, like none of this, like all this stuff, and like even the manuscript or whatever, like she was typing it out the whole time and planted it as though it was Verity. Right, because she was supposed to read a book.
That's nuts.
So that's what I thought. I was like, yo, that would be an amazing plot twist. I should write a book like that. I want to write a book, but we'll do that for a book club.
Every book club, you have to reinterpret the book that we read.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write your own version each month. And
then another note, thought. Jeremy tried to kill Verity because she knew she killed Harper, so Verity is scared of him. I wrote that I wrote this while I was reading the book, so I predicted it. And then it was like, or he planted the manuscript so Lowen would hate Verity and not him. Like, I was like, something like that, where, like, you know, he wants an excuse to leave the wedding.
Kind of what happened, probably, you know.
Yeah, so I was like, ooh, like, those would be such good plot twists, too. But, so I did call the part where Verity's just scared of Jeremy. That's weird. I hate knowing that I did that. But listen, she did it again. Yeah,
definitely an interesting read. See, I would never pick this out, which is like what I love about book club.
Yeah.
It's got to broaden your book horizons, guys.
It's so fun.
That's what we're here for. Oh yeah, and then since we're here, we're near the end, right?
Yeah.
I think we can finish everything. So next month
back to Roxanne.
Back to me, baby. We're gonna do A Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Woo! This is a mystery book club.
So at first, I thought this book was by Karen McManus, the same person who wrote One of Us Is Lying.
It looks the same.
Yeah, but I think it's just related, but I thought it was like related by author, but it's just related, I think, in concept. So it's saying, this is the story of an investigation turned obsession, ... Pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend, Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. Now, a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project, at first just to cast doubt on the original investigation. But soon, she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. Dun dun dun.
Guys, first of all, that sounds wonderful. Second of all, have you listened to the podcast Serial?
No.
It's literally the same thing,
really?
But it's a real story. It's like this guy named Adnan, and he's like, he was arrested for the murder of his girlfriend, but then like the serial like journalists are investigating like if he actually did it. It's exactly the same thing.
Wow,
that's
no
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is our book. It reminds me a lot of the One of Us Is Lying sequel. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
So, but it's okay. Hopefully it'll be good. I don't know. I picked it. I was like, you know what? It seems interesting. So let's run with it. Hopefully it's good. Otherwise, it's gonna be embarrassing. But
it's gonna be good. It's a mystery. Like great things on TikTok.
Oh yeah,
and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It just popped up in my recommended on Amazon because I bought the other book, so I was like, sweet, let's do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So make sure you guys grab this book for next month's book club. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, leave a little comment how about you rated this book, because clearly, finally, for the first time, we've got some
variety,
some variety in numbers. We're really changing it up, and so yeah, don't forget April.
Good Girl's Guide to Murder.
Woo.
Let's do it, baby.
Let's
do it.
And with that, guys,
babes out.